Hello, if you are in conference room 1, please turn on the camera and the microphone.
Hi, Lisa. We're just waiting on one more person to get here.
Okay, thank you, Michael.
No problem.
So I don't know why I can't start video.
Hi, Rita, we can hear you, but we can't see you.
Yeah, I'm trying to get the video. I'm not sure what's happening.
On my end, it looks like your video is on. Is there something covering your camera, maybe?
I'm looking. Doesn't look like anything is covering it. I may have to join from something different. Yeah, because I'm not. Okay. You guys, I mean, if everybody's there, you can start. I'll join back in. I'll have to join from another device.
Okay,
Not sure what my camera is not working.
I'll be looking for you to let you in.
Okay.
We are live.
Sound car, I don't feel like going.
Oh.
I've never had an ask me for my phone number as verification.
Does Elisa have it?
4866. Is that you?
Could be, I've never called my phone. What do you have for it?
845
I mean,
392
792
392
392.
4866.
Yes, it ends in 66. None of that.
I'm getting to see today.
We're just getting set up.
We're just setting up and then we'll begin. Time are they supposed to start coming in?
7.
Okay. Jesus.
There should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 applications. May not even need that. Since we are trouble.
Thought I'm sorry? I thought I overlooked those places.
No, not yet. She said that. They tried to come up because it's supposed to be, you're supposed to significantly expand your current programming or a new program. Right, it's supposed to be seed money to get you started.
Yeah.
As a loan. We're not supposed to be funding the same, and she told me she just couldn't come up with everything.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing great work.
Oh, yeah, they're great, she's a phenomenal.
I mean, a lot of everyone is.
It's true.
But, yeah, I'll do that.
We're live, Steve, so.
We're
We're
live,
live, we're waiting on you.
we're
Oh,
live.
jeez, okay. Okay, good evening. It is January 24th. Welcome to our community development meeting for the month of January. Tonight we'll be looking at applications for the block fund grants. So I guess we will move forward with that, right?
Yes.
Okay. We have people.
Well,
I'm not
we're
sure.
going to review them first, and you're going to.
Oh, we
review the
are, okay.
process.
Oh, okay.
Right, just so
Okay.
that,
So we'll go right from the top.
right, so can I just, does everybody have a copy of the spreadsheet? I just wanted
Yep.
to, Mandy, do you mind if I go over the spreadsheet?
Go ahead.
So we're expecting roughly $650,000 this year. Of that, 20% is the maximum we can use for administration. So that is to pay for Mandy's and my salary benefits. So the top, we deducted 130,000. We have allocated 122.5 for first-time home buyers. And the maximum, this is HUD regulations, that we can allot from our allocation is 15%, putting us at 97.5. Public facilities is the remainder, 300,000. This adds up to 650, and the public facilities is one of the City of Kingston's applications. So we are going to hear today from the applicants for the programs and services to add up to 97.5. So when you look down at the pink section, it adds up currently to 109,116, which puts us at 11,616 over. So we're not here today to discuss application, but to hear from the applicants about their application, so that should you have any questions, or they would like to clarify and go into more detail from their, presentation, with their presentation. So yes, we can take from the top Boys and Girls Club connecting to careers.
Just one question beforehand. All the ones that are on here,
Mm-hmm.
is this including the one that just dropped?
No, I did,
Okay, so
I
they're out.
deleted that.
Okay. So this is our most current live, good to go.
Good to go.
Okay, thank you. Boys and girls.
So, do you want to go since you're there, or Mandy, do you want to discuss the, connecting to careers? So, talk for me.
No, well, did anybody have any questions about that one?
No, Dan usually does a really good job of breaking everything down and explaining exactly what he's about and what he needs.
No, I don't have any questions.
So, I think this is like a broad overview of like the opportunities to expose, the kids in the program to the opportunities, and then toward the end is the budget. And he's requesting $18,990, and it's all for salaries, which are all eligible expenses.
Yeah, I guess we'll talk about that stuff next time.
Okay. Does anybody have any, we're good on that one? Okay, the next one.
Actually,
Oh, okay.
I did discuss this with Dan. I was just gonna ask him, is there anything, like at the high school that would overlap on what he's trying to
Oh, okay.
do
I
here?
think he's going to, I don't think he's going to make it in last minute. He emailed me and asked for the.
Okay, yeah.
So he will,
So I thought I could ask.
so yeah, he'll be able
Yeah, I
to,
mean, I'm sure this is a little bit different, but, because we don't want to.
yeah, or you don't want to duplicate it, sure. Okay, the next one is Center for Creative Education Fund, they're requesting $30,000. They are currently doing this program, but they are, in the application, they're saying that almost as soon as it started, they were near capacity. So they are increasing. So this is an after-school program. And just as with Boys and Girls Club, after-school programs include, snacks, sometimes meals, depending upon who's doing it and where. And their $30,000, and the budget is all for salary.
Amy, what was their expansion?
We don't yet know, we were discussing that, they were, I have to see if they, actually, I looked at last year's application and they didn't really give, projected numbers of those, and they haven't submitted any reimbursement requests yet.
Right.
So I don't know how many they currently are. I'm sure, I hope that we will hear from Drew tonight, and we can ask him how many they are currently serving. But
Right.
they say that, in this one, they're projecting like 80 kids. Yeah, 80 kids.
Okay.
Any other questions on this one?
Again, I hate to be duplicative with my questions here, but I know we have a number of after-school programs. The Rondell Center and the Hyde Center has programs, and Boys and Girls Club. I would like to hear why this is something different, something that we
Right,
need.
what are they offering?
Right,
Right.
that's not being offered already. I would have that question to ask.
And then he mentioned here, they kind of had capacity constraints, and so they're
Right.
teaming with St. James Church. I'm just curious, adding another 80 students is gonna,
Right, so they're saying this is based on 80, so how many are they doing now? So is it significant?
Mhm.
If they're doing 60, then, And sadly, all HUD says is significantly expansive, that's a bit subjective.
Yeah.
But, and if it was from 60 to 80, that's a, 15% increase, that's, I mean, 25% increase, so. Circle of Friends for the Dying, do you all know what the Circle of Friends for the Dying is?
I read about it, I was intrigued.
It is like end of life hospice care, but in a home versus in a facility. These are, the home can only serve 2 people, it's down on, I think, Floyd Street. And for many people who are low to moderate income, they don't have the resources to have anybody come into the house for 24-hour care.
Mhm.
So this is a home, I mean, Circle of Friends for the Dying, I think there's several throughout, I think, they're actually, nationally, like this is the only one. And, so, but this is it's a startup. They don't even have people in there yet, but they will. And so it's a nice, small ratio of patients, residents to the caregivers. So that when they are at the end of their house, not a hospital.
Bad.
It is, and their budget, 10,000. And it's for printing, so they need a lot of capital improvements. And so they are engaging in a capital campaign. So
Now, I can't find it in here. How long has this been in existence?
I think it's only a few years old. I don't know if I can
I
look it
couldn't
up.
find a date.
Yeah, it's not in the application. Let me see see what I can find in their, articles of incorporation. I don't send that on to you guys, otherwise.
Would it just be for Kingston residents or would it would just be located in Kingston?
Good question. And if they don't, we would of course refer Kingston residents, but CDBG just requires that you have some affiliation, living, working here. Because we had that issue on other programs.
Yeah, for sure.
We can ask like what their selection criteria.
Right,
Or even what the need is, I'm sure there's a need in Kingston with hospice. I'm just
okay,
curious
it was
if
incorporated.
there's other programs.
They were formed in 2012.
Well,
Yeah, June 21st, 2012 is when it was funded.
10 was-
So, and they had to, get a house bequeathed to them.
I don't think it's just for Kingstonians. I think it's for anybody. That's what it looks like after reading all their material.
Theoretically, it doesn't have to be so that, like, we've had the YMCA, we've done programs. And as long as they have some affiliation, living, working.
Is anybody familiar with the location?
I looked it up once.
Steve,
They're on Work Street.
it's across the street from St. Peter's Church.
Yes.
Oh, okay, all right.
Beautiful.
I know what you're talking about. Okay.
That's Ward Street, right?
Yes.
Right.
So they work directly with hospice?
Yes.
Yeah,
So
that's good.
obviously, there's a reading room, their family members can come in, but the meals are all prepared for them. So it's a nice homey place to,
We're
I know.
They deliver a death cafe on the 18th of every month.
it's part of one.
The 10,000 is basically for their printing.
Yeah, for the printing, their PR, the publicity to, to raise the funding
Mhm.
for the capital campaign, because we cannot fund the capital. Ready for City of Kingston, there's two for the City of Kingston, there's the, after school and summer parks. You're right. Did your wife call me?
Do I?
Did your wife call me?
What would be, maybe on this, I'm overlooking it, but what would be the major difference for this for, Lindsay? For, what? Sorry, I'm looking at the after school program. I'm curious,
From last year?
yeah, I mean, if we're calling, I can go for this one too. I think it's needed, important,
Absolutely.
but if we're gonna put that out there for everyone.
And then the next, are we still on that one?
I'm good.
Okay. Then the next City of Kingston one is Department of Health and Wellness is going to do a couple of improvements to, I'll call it Post Office Park, I don't know if it's gonna be. So gazebo, they're talking about play area.
You're talking about the other city of Kingston?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Fountain, benches. Are we good, Steve? You want to call it?
I don't know, I just texted her to see if she's thrilled.
Okay.
Oh, is this the one that's requesting 300,000?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay. Were there other, in previous years, were there monies allocated for this
Yes.
project? Not this specific project, but for this building, right? This was where Planet,
Planet Wings.
the building that was torn down, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
CDBG paid for the demolition and the hazmat remediation. That was 50,000, but there's a lot more money that needs to go into it.
Right.
what percentage of it was, this is additional funding for implementation may come from the ARPA plan?
Well, at one point, when you look at the, where is it? Where is it? I saw it on this.
So 200,000 from ARPA
Right, thank you.
and eight, so this is a $500,000 project?
Right.
Do they have like renditions of?
They have not supplied that, and
Hello.
do you want to see what else?
We have
You had how many more?
three more?
Yeah, couple more minutes, we're so close.
Yeah.
Thanks, Emily.
And I know you said this one was earmarked earlier in the public
It's-
facilities thing.
Right, it's the light blue public facilities,
Yeah, now what happens if we,
say now,
well, not say, could,
you cannot move it to programs. You cannot move it to administration, you could put it up into the home buyers.
okay.
I don't know if you've got any other options, for the city to put elsewhere.
Then, can we say we would like to see renditions of what a $500,000
Yeah,
project looks like?
absolutely,
That-
and price it out, how much is
Yeah.
this, and this.
I mean, Steve, what are your guys' thoughts on that?
I think it's a lot of money.
$500,000 for that little square, you know,
Yeah, I would like to see that.
That's a very good question.
So can I ask a question, please?
Sure.
So what about monies that have not been expended on projects and programs that we allocated for? Those monies that have not been used, they can be used for other things? Or did we say that they only had to be used for what they were specifically allocated for?
That's a long answer for a short question.
He has a couple of questions in there too. Because from what I understand, there's still monies from previous CDBG grants that haven't been used.
Yes, you're correct.
So someone needs to fill me in on how this all works. If we're going to have programs, City of Kingston asking for $300,000 in CDBG grant money. But haven't used the other monies yet. I'm a little concerned.
Yeah, I don't.
Mandy, do either one of you want to jump in on that? 'Cause, I mean, Rita makes an
Yeah, I
absolutely
suppose
amazing
question.
point, like, and that those questions,
There have been various activities that were not able to use their funding, and that funding is being forwarded in the terms of a substantial amendment. And there are additional activities within the city that the mayor would like to see the funding go towards, specifically the sewers, because they don't have enough money for those. So the substantial amendment, when it is completed, his goal is to move the money so that the city doesn't have to do additional bonding for it. There has to be a 30-day comment period. There has to be a public hearing, and then the substantial amendment has to be written. But during this process, anybody that has any, thoughts or suggestions are more than welcome to either show up at the public hearing or make public comments so that the mayor is aware of what everybody thinks. The public is invited to do this as well. And then once this is a completed process, then I submit the substantial amendment to HUD, and it has to go before them for review.
now, in the interest of sheer simplicity,
Mhm.
We are $11,616 short of all the people that have been applying for things. Would we be able to, no, we can't.
Because you cannot exceed the 15% cap.
And you can't award money to a future activity. It has to be anything that's reallocated, either has to be something that has a completely new application and goes before the entire public hearing and public comment period and goes before HUD, or the funding can be moved laterally to something that's already been approved. But the reason that this has to have a substantial amendment is because of the amount of money from 1 year. If it's under a certain percentage, then the funding can be moved without having to go through a substantial amendment, as long as it was to a project that had already previously been approved.
And what's that amount, Mandy?
Anything under 25%. So it's like 200, a little over $200,000 that needs to be reallocated.
And that's over the 25%. So that's why it
Yes.
has to have an amendment.
Yes. And the bulk of those monies are because we no longer have the public, housing rehab program.
Mhm. Hmm.
With this one, from my standpoint, I definitely want to see renditions before we do anything.
Emily's here, so.
Yeah.
she-
Rita, do you have anything else before we move to the next one?
Yeah, we can move to, I have a whole bunch, but we can move to the next one. I have thoughts, my own thoughts. that you all probably don't want to hear, so.
So the next one is Ulster Immigrant Defense Network. We all got the last minute change, and all he had done was simplify.
Which-
Because I was confused on this one.
Which one is, I'm sorry, which one are we moving to?
Ulster Immigrant Defense Network.
What was that one?
UIDN.
Oh, that's the one that you updated, you sent updated.
All I had, because I
Okay.
told her, this is confusing me, so it confuses me, you know? So she added the one sentence at the end of section 1, and then, put the numbers in a more understandable, to me anyway, format for the exhibit 5 for the CSCA entire project and CDBG, which is, per person. So, Ulster Immigrant Defense Network, I don't believe we ever funded them for regular CDBG, we did fund them for COVID. And that's a different thing altogether, but I don't know if you're familiar with what they do.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember
this
this from last year.
Yeah, same.
Okay,
This just is completely different from
good.
what it has to be, but
Well, I don't think we funded them with our annual, did we, Nancy? We've only funded them through CD with COVID money, right?
Wait, for who, UIDN?
I mean, I could look it up, I'm
Yeah.
being lazy.
We did, I thought.
No.
You
thought
did,
we did.
Only-
I know we did COVID for them.
We've only ever done UIDN with COVID.
Right, so this is their first
last year
time
they were
for,
all or nothing.
oh, that's meant for me.
Oh, meant to be was all or nothing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So this is directly, for food assistance, perhaps utilities, mostly food. Many of these, residents are ineligible for public assistance. I mean, they can get for their children if they're born here. They can get, the SNAP, et cetera, but not for themselves.
Why would it, why?
Their application,
Well, if you're not a citizen, I don't think that you can get, I mean, I don't know what it takes to get SNAP or HEAP. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think
Yes.
that's, yeah.
And undocumented immigrants and those awaiting asylum review are not eligible for heat.
For you, as in,
Central Hudson is.
yeah, that's different, it's not.
Right.
Right.
But HEAP is a federally funded program.
Yeah, it's
just
needed.
administered, oh, absolutely.
I was, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's self-explanatory.
so we didn't fund them last year, you said?
Right, they've never asked for our annual entitlement funding. We've only funded them with COVID. So
They're,
this is a new
so what
group.
about it says in 2020, during the heart of COVID, with funding from CDBG,
Right,
they were successfully provided food to 143 City of Kingston residents.
yes,
That was COVID funding?
that was COVID funding.
Okay,
That was the emergency funding.
okay. They're only asking for what, 10,000?
20, I think.
No, they're asking for 20.
I'll ask them what the first thing is, if they partnered up with, yeah.
I think we did.
I've heard,
question?
I've heard that they, give food to each other, with each other.
Yeah, they do some collaboration.
Yeah.
And after this meeting, I don't know, I can send you guys the spreadsheet so that you can play. I mean, that's it. Are we ready for the YMCA, the last two? So there's two from the YMCA. One is economic development through training and bike repair. And it's part of their Lend a Wheel program. And they want to train low to moderate income residents on how to do the repairs themselves. So are you familiar with Lend a Wheel? It's kind of a giveaway.
Yeah.
Oh, wheels for back. You give them a bicycle, a helmet, a reflective vest, just a really nice program.
We're asking for 10.
They're only asking for $2,400.
That is the strength training, the, bike one is $10,287. I couldn't find.
There were two, Rita. We're working on the first one. That's handwritten.
Oh, I see. Okay, I'm on the wrong one. Oh, like, there it is. There it is. Yeah.
I have a thinking.
I can put my jacket back on. I just realized.
Something going on something.
Lend a Wheel.
Yeah, I don't know.
No questions?
No.
Good on that one? And then the last one is strength training for seniors in the YMCA. And yes, they're asking for roughly 2,400. Well, did I, you know what I have going here? I'm 24,200.
You rounded up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think this was a good program.
Yeah, the seniors, it's on really complicated, I think it's true, because I would like to see more programming for seniors. That would be nice.
And there's tremendous benefits to it.
Yeah, you know, not only just the physical, but the social, getting out. Seeing people.
But I really like the age.
Yeah. Any questions on that one?
I'm good. Steve, you got any questions? No.
All right.
Rita, you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
We still forcing it today?
It's kind of growing up.
Oh, okay.
Freezing in there. Now even going to Catholic neighbors, it's a sauna.
It's hot.
It's really warm. Can we just like pick this up?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there's a temperature difference.
Definitely. And sit anywhere, if you want to sit on the perimeter, or just, wherever. It's chilly. It is chilly. So may I introduce, do you mind if I?
No, please.
No, go ahead.
Hey,
Dan is saying that he's going to be let in. I don't know.
Dan's meeting Elisa, I don't know, where did you see that?
He just texted me.
Oh, he's not seeing you. Elisa, Dan is waiting to be let in. So this is Stephanie Crystal from UIDN.
Hello.
Tom Hope from YMCA, is the bicycle program. And Emily Flynn from the city of Kingston for the Parks Improvement. Steve Shabbat, chairman of the committee, who's Alderman Ward 8, Michael Riviere, Alderman Ward 7, Naima Mohammed, Alderwoman Ward 5, and we've got Rita, who is majority leader, Alderwoman Ward 4. Mandy is the community development director. Hi, Dan.
Minority.
I'm sorry?
You didn't say minority.
Oh, minority leader, I'm sorry.
Of one.
Of one. Okay, so should we do an alphabetical order, right? Boys and Girls Club first? Anybody have a,
Nope, let's do it.
all right, you're up, Dan.
All right. Hi, everyone. Can you all hear me well?
Yes.
Good. Thank you. First off, I want to apologize. I usually enjoy being there and, you know, going through the process. I had a quick family situation that pulled me away. So thank you for making this available so that we could still attend. Yeah, I want to talk about our program that we applied for, our Connecting to Careers. This is a program that we're really excited about, and I've talked about a lot in the community. As you know, over the last couple of years, we've talked about our development of workforce development programs. We've been working to, we currently have our design team, our cooking, and our marketing teams, all things that are giving kids baseline skills and that we hope lead to jobs in Ulster County. So in our Connecting to Careers program, what we're looking to do is really put that in action. We want to get the kids that are participating in these programs to businesses, to places that these skills could lead to. You know, I often see that our kids, we talk about careers, like, what do you want to do in college? What do you want to do for a job? And it's always, I don't know, but I don't think it's, I don't know sometimes because they're unsure, but they're just not sure what jobs are and what it looks like and what the path is to get there. So, you know, there's a lot of hidden treasures in Ulster County that, you know, our youth, they wake up, the high school students of the Boys and Girls Club in Kingston, they wake up, they walk 0.25 miles down the road to school, they walk 0.25 miles back, and there's so much that they're missing on seeing opportunities out there. So the first stage on this, the first part will be doing research. Let's talk about some careers. Let's research. What is the path to get that career? Is it college? What's that cost? What's the annual salary? What's the availability in Ulster County of these jobs? Right. So we can start to pool ideas about, you know, what kids are interested in and show them that pathway to get to that career. You know, with that said, that's also the same with the college track, right? We are going to look a lot at workforce development, but also what does it take to go to college, right? Get to the campuses, talk to financial aid people. What path do I need to take, basically, you know, to get into these positions? We've got our workforce development programs are so active at club, and the kids are really interested. It's so funny because that we have this meeting today. I had a kid in my office sitting with me today. I said, "What do you want to do when you get older?" And she said, "I want to be air traffic control." I've never heard that in 20 years in youth development. And so, okay, so how do we show you how to get to that job? And that's really, you know, the core focus of it. We also happen to have just gotten a grant that we're getting 2 new smaller sized vans. So they'll be in next month, which will help us get around the community more and get kids to these places and put them in positions where they're informed about a career they have an interest in and learn about the path to get there and help connect them with people who are experienced in that field, you know, that are from this neighborhood, right? People like yourselves that they get to put a name with a face and talk to about how did you get here? How do you become an older person, right? How do you do that? Like what's available in the government? So kind of in a nutshell, that's really where we're going to dive in. And one of the big things that we're really hoping on the back end is that we learn new careers that our kids are interested in so that we can then go back and build the workforce development program that leads into it because we know they have the interest instead of just creating programs and hoping that they're interested in it. So, I mean, that's really the core focus of it all. It's going to be nimble, of course, for what the kids say they want to do and go research. But yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing is for us is getting kids around the county and seeing what available jobs there are. Because we know we're all very aware there's a lot of change in Ulster County. And I think it's very important that our youth know what's here so they have the opportunity, should they choose, to live in Kingston and Ulster County forever and do so happily around their family and the people they grew up with. Does anyone have any questions on the program?
Yeah. Hi, Dan. How you doing? Thanks for being here. I think we discussed this briefly already. I just want to make sure, I mean, I don't believe there's anything like this at the high school. I don't think the high school offers anything like this. To my knowledge, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you know, I think this is really cool stuff. I mean, you know, the food industry is a huge market, but like you say, how do you get in? And you know, I'm gonna put myself out on a limb here saying probably almost everybody in this room at one time has envisioned themselves opening a restaurant or being in a restaurant. But you know, this is not that it's a double-edged sword, but you know, for kids who really have no idea, and it sounds like, well, yeah, I want to do this, and you know, the reality, you know, might, you know, not chase them away, but make them at least do a little more homework rather than, okay, I'm gonna get somebody to float me $10,000. I'm gonna open a restaurant down the street and I'm gonna be, hugely successful at it. So, I think this is good. It's gonna bring people on board, but it's also gonna, educate people on the reality of this, but, it's a good thing. So you can tell me that, and I'm gonna believe you that there's nothing else like this around that, that I know of anyway, so.
Yeah, and I don't, not to my knowledge, especially now with how intensive a case study we can do on it. I do know that, one of the things about Club, what makes Club special is that where we can succeed sometimes outside of the school is our youth are very comfortable with us, with our staff, and we can tend to get more out of them because of the personal relationship over the last 10 years, that we build with them. Like I said, I don't know of anything else. And, just in general, this has been clicking in me for a while. I've been thinking about this and how to get here. This summer I had 3 kids say they wanted a job, and I reached out to someone I knew at Hutton Brickyard, and all 3 of them started working. But they wouldn't have found that without us making the connection. And we just have to make these connections with our youth so that they can have pathways.
Hi, Dan, it's Rita. How you
Hey.
doing?
Good.
So how many, I know you guys just opened on Saturdays, not too, right? You're open on Saturdays night, which is great. So how many teens do you think, what's their age range that come to the club on Saturdays and in general? Because I swing by there at nighttime because my grandson is there at
Yep.
night in the evening time. So I see a lot of his age there or a little older than him. But how many teens do you have visiting the club?
Yeah, so we're really, really active with the older teens right now. Happy to say that we have about 20 kids in between the girls and boys high school basketball program. So right now we're a little lighter on that group, but that's where Saturdays come in. And I'm glad you asked that about Saturdays. Thank you. We're targeting the high school group, 14 and up. To make sure, all the issues we've gone through with teen gun violence, it's really a push to focus on that. And the Saturday is really going to be where this really takes off because there's less distractions. When club is busy, it's really hectic. But now when we can bring people in and get them around the county on Saturday, it also, kids are very responsive to program. Yes, they do want to hang out. Being just open is good. But when there's a program, they come for the program. And I think this will also help include that. But, so Rita, on that, the population wise on Saturdays, we're probably about 20, when there's no distractions, there's been games every Saturday for the last month. We're 20 to 30 kids regularly, but probably 40 to 50 different.
Okay. And that's on a Saturday.
That's
On
just,
Saturday?
that's just Saturday.
Okay.
And I want to speak to that too. Something that I learned through my 5 years, like a couple of days ago. That something that I've learned. I've always thought like having the club busy, like all the time with 17 and 18 years old was a good thing. But this program it's not a good thing. They need to be working. They need to be getting involved in things. They need to be making that step away from club in that age bracket. And that's where this is geared. How do we help them so that they're not just at the club hanging out?
Right. Well, you guys have a proven track record. Every time I come over there, I see someone that grew up as a club kid now working there.
Yeah.
So that's great. Yeah.
Yeah, we try. I mean, it's definitely focused on, knowing the neighborhood is huge. That.
Yeah.
So Dan, for you, one, can you break down the expenses on this? I see that you have, director 7,200, team program director 9,960. Can you just elaborate on those a little bit more?
Yeah. So I mean, the real major thing here is payroll, is the staffing, right? Someone leaves the building, that person's focused on that, right? There has to be a replacement there. So the person that's going to be focused in on that, whether it's someone that comes in, we're going to have to start interior with the kids and what they like. But it's about staffing and making sure that because we are a building that's always open with kids, right? We can't take away from our core programming as well. So we need to supplement that for the time being put into it.
Okay, and I remember this question from last year, even though it's the one everyone hates. What is the minimum operating, like what is the least you can get to still run this program successfully? Is
Yeah,
this an
so I mean,
thing, or is there wiggle room in this? If you compare?
so, yeah, no, good question. So for me, what I'll say, as I always say, is when we do these, if you look, I'm sure if you look across the board at the applications and what's being applied for, we understand the situation and we put in for a very, very modest compared to what it costs to run programs, because we understand what the situation is. We take that into account. It's my job as an executive director to go, should we need to do more? And it costs more to find those funds. And our fundraising at the club and the stuff that we've done has proven that we're always able to come through on it. So I wasn't expecting an exact number like that, so I don't have that in front of me with stuff to go through. But I mean, obviously, we will work with what we need to work with, because that's what we do as a community to make sure that everybody's supported.
I think it's great. I think it reminds me of Liberty, the Liberty program.
That's way back. Yeah.
So I think it's great, and I think there's a lot of ways to be innovative with this program, especially because Kingston's really good with helping folks, shadowing and all that good stuff. And I just want to throw out Tina Mierna from the high school. She's an internship careers person. I don't know if you connected with her, but she's good people too.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I talk to Tina regular. Yeah, we have a good relationship on work with this stuff. Once we take off, I'll definitely reach to her.
Yeah. So I think it's great. It just reminds me of the Liberty Partnership, which was a great influence on my life. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, one of the off spins on this, right? There is the program itself, but this is going to open doors of finding out things that are. What if I have 6 kids that want to be air traffic control people? Like we had no idea. Like, let's go figure out how to find that avenue. It'll create even more workforce programs down the road, because we'll find out what they're interested in.
Yeah, one last thing, Dan, and I don't see it, are you targeting a certain age group for this? Or is it just anybody that wants to?
Yeah, so out the gate, we'll definitely be targeting the high school group, because they're dealing with the least less time. But once we have the template, we can follow through with the middle school group and start them earlier than where we are now, right? We want to make sure that our older teens are being productive, positive, and having a chance to, again, stay in our community and work around their family. So that'll be the immediate one. But yes, we will trickle down into middle school and start, even just the research stuff. How much does a teacher make? How much does a doctor make? How many years of school? How much is school? Even just those conversations, which again, also start to get them thinking, work through our Money Matters program. We can tie that in about how to be, financially responsible, and it can spiral down a lot of avenues.
Anybody else?
Thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
All right, thanks, Dan.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
And
you,
like I said,
Dan.
I'll start. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Rita.
I just said thank you.
Oh, no, thank you, guys. And I do apologize. I don't want to be rude, but I do have to jump off. I just have to take care of something. But thank you for making this available.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Thanks.
Okay, no one's here from Center, and no one's here from Circle of Friends. And Lindsay's not here for the programs. You guys are long. So next is City of Kingston Department of Health and Wellness.
Would you like an overview of the project?
Yes.
All right. So I'm here representing the Broadway Prince landscape plan for Broadway Prince. I'm assuming everyone here is somewhat familiar with the intersection right out here. So 2 green spaces that have come to be after the intersection alignment in 2019, I'll just get my notes here. In 2021, my department got a grant called the Creating Healthy Schools and Communities Grant Project. It's a State Department of Health grant. It was for 5 years. It was $1.5 million for those 5 years. So the goal of that grant was physical activity and nutrition. Within physical activity is this concept of placemaking, of creating everyday destinations so that more people walk and bike. That's the physical activity. So we were able to use CHISC funds to create a landscape plan for these 2 green spaces. It's currently in development still. I do not have a plan to show you tonight, unfortunately.
How did you know there?
I knew it was gonna ask. But I can tell you the status of that in a moment, but let me continue on the background. So the goal there is to create spaces that are inclusive to everyone. It's really about, this intersection is a gateway in the city of our city. You know, Broadway, that underpass is the one intersection where we know that you won't get blocked by a train. So everyone that I know goes through that intersection. So we want it to be a place that's very welcoming, inclusive. Let's see, where else should I go with that? So the project is in development, as I mentioned. The city has received 3 conceptual plans from the consultants. I should mention the consultants were hired for one of the main reasons was because of the robust public outreach. So they stood out there in those green spaces with donuts and got every high school kid that walks through that intersection to give feedback on what they would like to see there. That, along with a public meeting that included Spanish interpretation, there was surveys that went out, and we had really great public outreach, which if you were ever interested, I can give you that information about the public outreach at another time. All that to say, in development, we've got these 3 conceptual plans that are in review by city staff currently. The reason we're taking some time to have city staff review it is to make sure that staff is able to maintain it, that we have the equipment that we need for it, that DPW feels comfortable with the placement of things, that the water flow and drainage is appropriate for the space. So we're really trying to check all of our boxes with getting stakeholder approvals before we move forward. What else can I tell you? While I pause there to see what I've left out, any questions? Yeah.
I was a big supporter of this, so I mean, I really want to see this turn. I mean, I think it looks great already, you know, but, you know, to have it further enhanced will be good, so, you know, hopefully we can get that accomplished one way or another over the next few years. I mean, it's already kind of transformed that whole section of Broadway. And like you said, well, actually, the train crossing was closed this morning, so everybody had to go, myself included, up Broadway and through that way and get around there. So it's getting, you know, fair use now. And I think people are getting used to it. You know, it took a little getting used to, but, you know, I think it's good. You know, I like the design, you know, but, you know, if we do that enhanced with the green space, it's really spectacular.
And I'll just clarify that this project is just for the green spaces. It doesn't, the intersection's complete. So this is just for the places that you see that are loaded right now, which is 5 green spaces.
Are we going to have rendition by the time we have to vote on this? Because I mean, $500,000, and I understand 200,000 of that is via ARPA, but
Is rendition construction plans?
construction plans are just an overview of like what this conception looks like. You know what I mean?
What's
Like,
going to go where?
yeah, what's going to go where, or just not even, okay, well, you told us it was gonna be in this corner, but you put it in this corner. You know what I mean? Just like a rough idea so we can see what it looks like and see what $300,000
Yeah.
is going towards, because
Is there gonna be Wi-Fi? Like.
Yeah, right.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of questions with, you know, benches, trees, a historical marker, a gazebo, you know, walkways, play equipment, you know, just an idea of what all of this looks like.
Yeah, so I don't feel comfortable showing you the conceptual plans because it's not public yet. But why don't I check in with the mayor and see if I can forward some form of that to the committee here. But I don't feel like I'm able to share that tonight.
Okay, yeah, I'll keep the rest of my opinions to myself, but yeah, I would like to see that before.
That would be a first.
Mark this day down.
Yeah.
Wi-Fi would be out of scope of this project.
Really?
Sorry, I missed that.
Your Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi would be out of
Not
scope of this
happening.
project. So we're talking about the hardscapes and the softscapes, so the benches, sidewalks, trees, plants.
Okay.
So Wi-Fi would be a technology, a different project.
Got it. Be cool though.
Yes.
I mean, just to give a shout out to our Parks Department, we do have Wi-Fi in many of the parks now.
I know, yeah, that's why I was mentioning, I was wondering if it's gonna be.
So I'm sure it
Yeah.
would probably be incorporated.
Mhm.
Rita, do you have any questions?
Nope.
Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you.
We're on you.
All right, wow. We're on you and you.
Right.
All right, this is the, there was a slight addendum to the, so you probably have. something.
Yes.
Okay, I'll give you. So, my name is Stephanie Crystal. I'm the Program Development Director from Ulster Immigrant Defense Network. And, are you familiar with our work and the programs that we're doing? Yeah, so I won't go over all of the different programs that we have, but some of the new things that we're working on in 2023 and forward is not just our direct aid programs, but to really work on pathways to self-sufficiency. So vis-a-vis stepping up our legal program to help more people get asylum and special immigrant juvenile status for abandoned youth, and something called prosecutorial dismissal, which the first two allowing people to live and work in our county legally. The second piece is we're also focusing on workforce development. We have a pilot program that we're getting funding for a worker cooperative, and to try to really get this model off the ground, because it's based on an LLC model that is utilized and available to people who do not have status. So that's a separate focus than what I'm here for tonight, which is one of our basic needs program, which is food. We have a pantry and an outdoor pantry and market. We've been in operation since 2017. We started off with about 40 families, and we're currently like on an average like 150 to 165, 166. We did towards the end of the year, we started getting 200, 220, 200, 225 households, which means times 3.5 individuals. So that's a fair increase from when we first started. Because of the rising cost of food, which we're all aware of, and the fact that we're trying to really provide culturally adapted foods, so foods that are foods that people use in their countries of origin, but also to really include a lot of produce and farm fresh food, nutrient dense food, and whenever possible, like locally sourced food. So in exchange, we're also supporting our local farmers and local businesses that can supply those items. We do receive a lot of in-kind, particularly in season from the farms, which is awesome, and from many other places like People's Place, Regional Food Bank, the YMCA Farm Project, and so on, which we are very grateful for. So what we're asking for is our budget for this year is $174,000. That's in our projected 2023 budget. We are also hoping this year to actually expand that, but that's not in our organizational budget as of the moment. We'd like to, really, there were times towards the end of the year when we had enough food for 165 families and 200 people showed up that we, by the end of the day, ran out of food, which is a really hard thing. And we redirect people to, the other food pantries. Obviously, food is a basic and essential need for optimal, mental, physical, emotional health and well-being. We're also trying at our food pantry, we also have set up now a health committee. So each week, there are people that come in and are tabling from various local organizations that talk about nutrition, diet, health, diabetes, and obesity are prevalent in the community. So I don't know if you want me to break down the budget. The addendum was the CEA, which I put in there to clarify things a little bit more. Anybody have any questions? The people that I work with, I'm sure you're all familiar, are mostly from Central America and Mexico, heavily from Central America. All are low income. Many are no income at times because of the seasonal labor ending. COVID hit this population of people very hard with bills and arrears. So having food security is sort of a pathway to help with poverty alleviation. So any questions?
Yeah, I have a question, please.
Rita?
Can you hear me? Because it's a little staticky.
Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay, good. Okay, well, first of all, good evening. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name, though.
My name is Stephanie Crystal.
Stephanie, okay,
there's-
you're Stephanie. Hi.
Thank you.
Hi. Okay, so obviously, fantastic program, and we definitely need it. And so thank you for your service. So the only question I had, so the amount that you're requesting, it's not that if you don't get that amount, you won't be able to fund this program. It'll just be you'll be doing maybe less days rather than 4 days a week, maybe 2 days a week, 3 days a week. Is that how I'm understanding this?
Our pantry is actually once a week, and we try to provide enough groceries for about 3 to 4 days worth of food. So it is just a once a week pantry. And yes, we get funding from a lot of other sources as well, and you know, in-kind foods and produce.
Okay.
But there was another part of your question. I'm not sure that I answered that.
It's just, I read, I think I read the application wrong. I thought it says to continue to provide weekly 4 days of food. So the pantry, the food that you give out every week lasts for about 4 days
Correct.
for
Yeah.
families.
Yes.
Right.
Correct.
All right. And that's what, and so without this funding, that would not be possible.
It just wouldn't be-
We are, what's that?
I said it just wouldn't be as many families.
Honestly, we're pretty persistent bunch of people. And so thus far in the 6 years of our existence, we have just somehow, some way, by the grace of whatever, we have found what we needed to meet the rising need and the numbers of people. So without the funding, you know, it would be a scramble this year. There was a large grant that we didn't get. We had it 2 years in a row, and we are reapplying next year. But that was a little difficult. So we are seeking additional funding for all of our programs, but sometimes we do have to, you know, reduce the budget. So we actually could spend a lot more on food, but we needed to cut across the board. So 174,000 is sort of a reduced budget already. So, you know, whether it's through more fundraising, targeted email campaigns. Right now, we do have a sponsorship going with the Kingston Interfaith Council, and people are sponsoring a certain, like a family or two. And so we're beginning to get some extra funding that way. So we just keep thinking creatively out of the box, how to meet, you know, the budget that we've created.
Right.
So,
Okay. Thank you.
yeah, sure. Thank you. Any other questions?
She kind of asked mine.
Okay.
No, I don't think. You were already there, thank
But
you. I learned a lot.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And thank you for your consideration and your support in the past. I'm really grateful.
You're happy to. Okay, guess what? That came pretty quickly tonight.
It did. It's not 9 o'clock yet.
I know.
Those candies look pretty good. Oh, hold on.
Help yourself. Who wants to go first? Bicycle or senior strength training?
Talk about senior strength.
Okay.
So this is geared towards population of seniors, which they can, 55 and above. I don't like to call it 55 and above. Seniors,
Elders.
however. that's-
wiser individuals.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah, so this is just a program, had other grantors in the past. We have a program we've run it before, and it's wildly successful, or just, they like it. It gets more wiser adults, back into that gear of, taking care of yourself. You have to work out, you have to maintain upper, body strength in general. And it just works with the seniors to get them back into a routine, back on track. And so there's a social aspect of it as well. They're all coming together for a common cause of being stronger. It's surprising, you see the results pretty quickly. But this money, we have gotten other grants in the past, but we didn't get them this time. And so we're just asking, to cover a program for 12 weeks for seniors. And so it's had great reviews. We're tapping into a population I don't think has necessarily gotten funding, so I'd like to change it up a little bit. And this is open, for everyone. It's not my members, we open it up for everyone. So who wants to participate.
Steve was
Actually, you already touched on what I wanted to ask about, that being the social aspects
Yeah.
of this. I think that's a really important part of it. Is that built into your program, or does that, you just wait for that to occur naturally as they're there?
It's when you put together the curriculum, it's natural that it comes part of the program, because there's a lot of what they do, you're kind of doing it together. You're encouraging them, it's nice to see it, some folks can do things better than others, but it's nice when the others encourage them to say, yeah, keep going, I used to do that, check it out, try this, and, it's just, it's kind of like they're in it together, so it's really nice. There are some groups that have continued on to be friends, and they continue to do things together, which is really quite lovely.
Yeah, that's great. I can
Yeah.
turn grocery shopping into a social.
With your social work.
Yeah.
A couple questions. One, what is the capacity?
Well, we picked 25 because one of the things, especially with the up and down of flu and COVID and everything else, it's very obvious that space is required, they'd like to be distant. So we intentionally selected 25 as our capacity. The space that we can do it in can serve way more, but that's a good size, and people can spread out and they don't have to feel like they're going to be in each other's air, if you will.
Now,
So,
do you have a breakdown of, will you cap it at, let's say, 15 members of the Y and 10 from the outside, so.
for these, we typically take outsiders.
So it would almost be
Yeah,
exclusively
no, it's
outsiders.
just,
Okay.
we can get our own members and, but this is specifically for outsiders. Because that's who we're trying to reach.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if I'm reading this right, it's a 12-week program, but
Yeah.
there's really only 6 classes.
I think they switch it between,
One instructor will teach 1 week and the other,
right, so
Next
it's
to
12
the-
weeks. So
okay.
each instructor, they switch off to give each other 6 weeks each.
okay, and that's how many classes a week?
One class a week.
One class a week?
Yeah.
And for what, an hour?
Yep,
Okay.
yep,
One class, one time a week for an hour for
Yep.
12
12
weeks.
weeks.
Or for 12 weeks.
yep.
I think it's great, the mind and body is really important. And it's not talked about enough, especially even if it's 30 minutes once a week, I think it's a game changer, for some people don't go, as we get older, like as 69, 80, 70, 80, like I don't, at least my family, they're just like, come see me, come see me.
Right.
I'm like, okay, well, like, you come outside. So, I think this would be a great opportunity for a lot of people.
Maybe you can answer this directly. As a member of the body, we getting updated weights anytime? Updated weights,
Bigger weights.
updated, just newer in the weight room downstairs.
You got funny?
No, just they're, yeah.
That's another program to
Yeah.
find.
Yeah.
There are newer and bigger weights in our den, if you haven't.
I've been,
Been there.
I've been approved to access the den.
Yeah, is that the space you were talking about?
No, just in
Okay.
a regular weight room upstairs. It's-
Yeah. Our phase 3 will tend to that,
Okay.
which we're collecting money for.
So Heidi, you had said that this is geared for 55 and older.
Yes,
So a lot of 55-year-olds are still working.
yeah.
So are these all-day classes or do you offer anything?
No, I think they're totally flexible with the time. I mean, that hasn't been set up yet, so we're totally flexible with the time that we'll offer it. I mean,
Most 55-year-olds are still working.
yeah, and most of the people who are interested in this kind of stuff are quite a bit older.
Really a lot.
We're talking, I would be, I mean, you're talking, the folks who I see who love it are probably more 70-ish. But we're totally flexible. It doesn't, folks who would run this work all hours. And one of our trainers speaks Spanish too, so maybe you might just do, just kind of cool.
Untapped
Yeah.
resource.
I know, thank you here.
Oh,
So-
one more. What's active delivery costs? What are those?
Just the process of having to, get the stuff delivered, like, somebody else has to be pulled in to go do something to get the course done or whatever. It's not necessarily overhead, if you will, but it's kind of like just additional work that has to be done to make the program run.
Nonprofit stuff,
Yeah,
administration.
a little bit, yeah, somewhat administration. It can be anything. It could be the person running the copy machine for the printing. Thank goodness my desk is nowhere near that copy machine. Because I'm sure I'd be asked, can you just watch this? There it is, yeah. Did you have any questions?
Anything, Rita?
No questions, one comment. I love this program. Elderly and seniors are some of my favorite people. So
They're really fun.
let's keep them active and keep their minds going.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Okay, Sid. Can't say this.
Don't say that, but hopefully you're considering. Thanks for entertaining our proposals tonight, and mine is about biking, but it's more about economic development, because I feel that while biking is a great thing for health and the environment, the service that we can provide through this program does two things. First, for the mechanics program, which is our training program, It gives hands-on mentored experience for young people. And in the bike industry, in our corner of it, there are several retailers, major big box retailers, and then there are 5 small businesses. And like many other companies, industries, they've found it hard to find appropriate workers. So between the need on the one side of the businesses to have people who know what they're doing and the need for young people to have skills that they can apply to a work area, the program tries to make that happen. Secondly, the program also looks or helps with skills that are transferable. So while they may choose to go into the bike industry, which would be great, we need them there, a lot of the mechanical skills, the hands-on skills are also very relevant to auto mechanics, to small engine repair, to basically any hands-on type of industry work where you use tools in your work.
On-road skills.
So we think, yeah, they'll learn some very specific things about how to fix bikes, but they'll also learn how to keep tools in order, how to use which tools for what type of purpose, and what other uses are there. So that's our approach to employment and economic development with our younger people. The Lend a Wheel program covers all ages, but typically they are older recipients. And so we have individuals who are coming out of rehab. We have vets. We have homeless people. We have people who are just very low income and scraping by and need transportation. And rather than trudge through the snow or wait for the bus, a bicycle can make their lives immeasurably better. And if they have errands to run, doctors to visit, it can also get them there quicker and get them home quicker. So in terms of saving time for people who are working or helping them get to a job that they might not otherwise be able to get to, we feel it's also developing the local economy. So those were our 2 programs, and questions, comments, clarifications.
I just wanted to say that a lot of folks that I work with use bicycles for work or, for school or for appointments, and I think they've gotten some from this program. And also, I just wanted to know, is there any Spanish translation in terms of the skills teaching part?
The curriculum is, I do have all my worksheets and lesson plans in Spanish and English. And I have, I won't say fully bilingual mechanic as one of our staff, but she's pretty good and knows the bike terms in Spanish.
Right. Okay, no, I'd love to send some people.
Yes, yeah, we really.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, I could just be Tom's cheerleader, because I've seen this program. I love it. How many bikes did you put back out into the community last year through this program?
Well, we were down from the year before, but we are up to 147.
And part of that was we too were looking for a mechanic. So it helps, we're helping ourselves by having this class. And I've been lucky enough to sit in the room next to the class where they're doing their work often. And the dialogue is really good. It's really nice to see the kids, not kids, well, the young people engaged in it and get so super excited about it. And, I mean, you did mention, but the bikes that they repair, they can do repairs at the end of the program. They keep them.
That's awesome.
So if they do a really good job of repairing them, they've got a really good bike. So
It's so great.
How many kids?
10.
10 kids, okay.
It's a very hands-on class. So we have,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
And is this an all or nothing?
well, we'd have to scale back and look for other funding sources to fill in gaps. So, in terms of the Lend a Wheel, if we only at 120, could only afford to do 120 bikes, that's what we'd be able to do. If we could get additional funding, we could do more, so, yeah, it's a hard question.
And are these sorry,
Okay.
are these live kids that you pull from or outreach in regards to?
Yeah, no, this is completely open to anyone between 14 and 24 in Ulster County.
Hi, Tom, it's Rita. I'm gonna ask you a question.
Yeah.
So are these, when you come up with your programs, are these programs that you guys do because the interest is there, or do you receive feedback from community saying to you, yeah, this is something that we want to do or we want to learn? I guess that's my first question.
Yeah, so we have community repair clinics once a month during the warmer months. And we get people from all around Kingston, sometimes from other parts of the county, they'll bring their bikes to Kingston. And I had no idea that that was a need in the community. I thought, oh, we have bike shops, people get the bike repaired, but that's not the case. So there is a need that we're responding to in terms of the need for reliable, cheap transportation. And the feedback from the individuals who receive the bike is, thank you so much for doing this. I didn't know this was possible. This is going to help me get to work. So initially, the bikes that we didn't know what to do with, they were donated. And we just started reaching out, and kind of that's the demand, the response that we got.
Okay. The other question is, and sorry for the background noise, my grandson is having a good old time in here. So obviously with Kingston becoming, a bike-friendly city, do you guys also have a component of safety teaching? I'm so sorry. Teaching, the bikers and the cyclists. You have a safety component with all of your programs?
Yes, so the Midtown Mechanics, our last class is a bike safety. When they finish their bike and it's all ready to ride, we take them out in the parking lot. We do some skills training. We go through the vehicle and traffic law, and then we take them on a bike ride to test those skills.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and for the Lender Wheel program, each biker is offered a helmet, reflective safety vest, lights, and a bike lock. And while I'm organizing that with them, I also give them a safety talk and a bike security talk. And we also have literature at all the bike repair clinics regarding safe biking and what the laws are, because a lot of people, both bike riders and motorists, don't know the laws. So the more we can educate the people who get the bikes, the hope is they'll be safer when they're out riding them.
Excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome.
One final question, sorry.
Yeah.
So looking at the expense summary that you have, it looks like 4212 would be the Midtown Mechanics program itself?
Yeah,
Okay.
and that's about, 3/4 personnel and 1/4 parts and supplies. And Lender Wheel is pretty much the opposite, a lot more parts and supplies
Sure.
than labor, so.
So you call it Lender Wheel, it's really hidden. Not Lender.
Well, people lend their old bikes to us, and then they are,
Get refurbished back to almost new, sometimes better.
So the people who lent it,
And then you move it a bit
don't we still
forward.
pay it forward?
Yeah, yeah. Some of the bikes are completely awesome too.
Sure.
Yeah, right.
I wish someone told me my sugar that I could get pulled over.
Did you get pulled over?
Sure did, right up front.
Oh, no, so I know
Oh.
I escaped off the street, right on the way.
how long ago was this?
I don't want to age myself.
So
No, I was
was
really
In the
young.
company you're with, that's what you're saying.
Such a jerk. I was young, I was like in middle school. I'm not mad, but I'm glad that education is. Yeah, that's my point.
So of the, just because I'm trying to do math in my head, of the 10,286, 4212 would be specifically for that mechanic program, or?
Yes, and a portion of the delivery cost, so I think that's probably another, I can't do the math in my head either. But yeah, 4212 is would be
Okay.
our bottom line to run that program.
Okay. Thank you. I don't know.
Anybody has anything else? Corinne, you haven't had any questions tonight?
No, I've just been listening.
Okay.
Yeah, comes your tough part.
All right, this elder has to get home.
Thank you for coming.
It's so nice to meet you. Thank you.
We're not.
I saw that.
Thanks for coming in.
Yes.
Yeah, you-
Be quite a bit longer.
Yeah.
it's all pretty low.
Yeah.
Well, you can just say that to the gateway. So,
Okay.
and then they have to read it, you put it in. So as you put in the, under the recommendations, it'll add up here and we'll subtract so that you can see what's left. So it gets to zero. You want to close the meeting?
Ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so, this is the easy part of our work here, listening to everybody. Now the real work starts, but the good news is this is not gonna be anywhere near as unwieldy as it has been in the past. I don't know, can you hear me read it?
Even last year, this was gonna be easy.
Okay, so when's the next meeting? You have a
February, whatever.
Okay, whatever. So our next regular meeting is when we'll actually get down to business.
February.
So what we would like is everybody continue to review these, okay? Try and get something firm in your mind. This is the closest I've ever been to a break even point.
I know.
I mean, we've never
That's
even been
great.
close to this. What do we have to eliminate to?
Like 11.
11 and
change
change,
as well, right?
Change, so we've eliminated a lot more than that, so I'm not gonna say it's gonna be a piece of cake, but, you know, we can relax a little bit, but I just want everybody to be prepared when you come here. You know, we wanna make some decisions, and, you know, if we can do it without sitting here for 4 or 5 hours like we have in the past, that would be nice. Just a word of caution, I know this has been talked about frequently. Michael's brought it up a couple times about the all or nothing. All right, so, you know, I just want to caution about getting backed into a corner and feeling like we have to give somebody everything because they say all or nothing. I feel that happened last year, that, you know, we kind of, you know, we're cringing when somebody says, well, it's all or nothing, and who wants to give somebody nothing? That's not a nice thing, but, you know, we have to do what's right for us, so, you know, let's not try and be swayed by that phrase, okay? So I think we had some good questions tonight. I think we're well on our way. This, you know, some very interesting stuff here. So again, just, do some homework, I mean, it sounds like everybody has gone through these. So if you can come up with some, not a formula, but if there's something in here that, and don't be afraid to come here and say, I don't think they should get anything. I don't think this is appropriate. We've done that in the past. We've eliminated people just because, we didn't think it was the right thing to do. So, don't shy away from that. We're going to kill you for that. So anyway, that's pretty much it. That's my story.
Sticking to it.
Yeah.
A suggestion that I learned from last year, and please feel free to shoot me down, is maybe everyone picks, if they have like a, one that they feel like this should be fully funded. Maybe if we all pick one, and then if we all like have the same one in mind, then that kind of eliminates the, and then just go from there, I would say, and maybe even if there's one that we don't think deserves any funding, do that the same way. And like I said, if we're all in the same things, that just shortens time, right? Yeah. And then we did it last year towards the end when we were trying to figure out the numbers, but having the Excel spreadsheet up so we can do live numbers, that would make a tremendous.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd be, I'll talk to Elisa about how we could do that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could do it from here, but yeah, I did that from home.
Yeah.
And I had my 2 computers open.
Yeah, that was, I mean, because that
Share
was,
screen.
that was huge.
I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Yeah. I mean, that's all
Yeah, that was good.
those are just my 2
No,
suggestions for that.
That's a great idea. I mean, that's an easy way around, like,
Yeah.
put it all sorts in, so everybody agrees on it.
It's easy. Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, just reading body language or talking, there's at least one program I know that some of us are like, yeah, let's do that. So I think that just makes things faster.
Just because people didn't come here.
Oh, no.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So,
Okay.
I feel bad if you said they weren't here, so they're not getting.
Rita, you got
Are they
anything?
open to- Are they able to come to the next one, or next one is closed for?
Well, they're always open to the public.
Right.
You could, I guess, if you had questions, but they wouldn't be able, that would not be the forum for them to then present.
Yeah, we don't
This
want
opportunity.
presentations.
Yeah.
But if you
But
have a
sometimes
specific
questions
question,
Okay.
they could, certainly you could turn to them and say,
Yeah, specific
you-
questions,
I mean,
but we don't want them standing up here with.
Right.
all
yeah,
the
this
show
is,
and,
right.
all that.
Now, I put out a call for questions and I didn't get any. Naina had asked me this afternoon, do you guys think it's too late to ask questions that I could send on to the app? Like you would direct the questions to me so that, one, you're not getting them from 7 different people, 2, they don't necessarily know. the
I don't
answer.
think it's too late.
That's what we have, I mean, we have a month, so
Yeah, that's fine.
But you have to give
maybe, I was
yourselves
gonna say
time
maybe a
for
2-week,
me to ask them and to pass it back on to you, so you can do it
Maybe a
February
2-week.
27th.
deadline.
So,
That'll give
okay,
them 2 weeks to respond.
okay, I will resend that email asking for more questions.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
And, so I'll resend the spreadsheet with the gateway out.
Okay.
That's the only change.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. All right.
Motion.
Second.
Thank you so much, guys. Amy,
Good night,
Amanda,
Rita.
thank you for your work.
We are adjourned. Thanks for being here, everybody.
Right.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'm still on. Who goes up, who turns that off? Or does it just turn it off?
No, well, so usually back out of the meeting
Press the red button.
and, yeah, we press the
I
button.
have no idea.